One. Huh, Danny?
Yep.
He's in the other room. He's almost done with his school studies, so we're going to make this one, and he will help me make the next one. Today is the final, I think, on making salt bars, brine soap, which this one is. And I wanted to make this one because the activated charcoal is a natural deodorizer. And so I thought that I would make one color and show you how easy it is instead of using, swirls or whatever in this. Salt bars and brine salt bars, there's a difference, even though it's both using the salt. As you know, with the grit in the salt bars, it helps to exfoliate, and you want a fine grit or fine salt. So you need to put it in a blender or something to make it, more finer, even powdery. And that I would keep at 100%. So whatever your oils weigh is the same amount as the salt that you put in it. And the reason why I wouldn't go anymore is because you're going to get that crumbling once you, in the shower and getting it wet. Nobody likes that. The really nice thing about salt bars is it is like a polisher. And same thing with the brine salt, believe it or not. It's a polishing, soap. It just leaves your skin just nice and smooth like you put lotion on, and that's why people love it. You can add a little bit extra salt on the top so you get that, that little salty sea if you want, with 100%, using the 100% of the salt in your salt bars. Brine salt is the difference between would be like using a sandpaper, and no, it's not taking your skin off like a sandpaper, but I'm using this as an illustration, is you would have a rough grit, when you first start sanding your project, and then the end result, you want to use a fine grit, which is the finishing sanding. So the brine salt bars are like a finishing grit type, and it does the same thing as polishing your skin. Just some people, don't like it, but you will have a little bit of grit. If I took water and added salt to it and mixed it up into a solution, and then I set it somewhere and the water started evaporating out over a period of time, what are you going to have in there? Well, you're going to have salt again. So that's why I say it's like a finishing grit. It's not very abrasive as, really getting down to it with the salt bar. So that is the difference. Use the same. As you know, I didn't change or deviate against any of my formula. I use the same, and I have so much to do. I didn't go and recalculate to make 12 bars in these molds, because I have 2 molds. I'm going to have 9 bars, and that's fine, because I have a lot of salt bars and different varieties, so that would be fine. So you just use the same recipe that you would making a salt bar, and instead of using the salt, use the brine, as your lye solution, and replacing as the salt. So it's going to be 9 bars instead of 12 for me. And I do a 20% brine. I showed you this before. I use this for some of my liquid soaps. What is really nice about it, using brine water, making liquid soaps, it keeps the soap fluid, where you don't, oops, Nicole, you didn't see that. It keeps your soap fluid all the way through the cook and then you don't need as much dilution when at the end of the process. So that's what is very, very nice about using this. And a lot of liquid soap makers, that's what they do. So that's why I made up this big old thing, and I use it, voila, in here. So 20% is what I use for both the liquid soap and. Okay, activated charcoal. This is the hardwood type, and it's from Nurture Soap. This is the one I'm going to use. I already have it in my oils because, as you know, with even clays and stuff, you want to hydrate it. So that's why it's in there. My fragrance is, see the little bit of darkness in there? The one thing nice about using the activated charcoal or a one color is that you can use any of your luscious fragrances that discolor CP soap. And sometimes your bath bombs and go on and on and on. So it's very nice to do this. And here I have, this is Nature's Garden. And of course, you know, I like to mix. I have fresh bamboo and hemp. Wait a minute, bamboo and hemp. That's the name that they have. Bamboo and hemp with a little bit of sweet grass. And oh, yes. It just smells, you know, like not only around in the sea kind of a fragrance, but a spa fragrance. And I just think that goes so good with the activated charcoal. So here is my lye solution, and you know that it's like a milky color, and it is already cooled and worked together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fragrance and I'm going to throw it in there. I know that both of them behave pretty well, and I'm going to mix this up, and then I'm going to pour this in. And when it is a very light trace, I should say, to emulsification and a light trace, or whatever one comes, that's my pouring time for this. So it's a smooth bar. We don't have all the problems with trying to do a swirl, you know, with that. And it wasn't the fragrance, it's, you know, the salt. It just speeds up the process. So let's get busy. Oh, I guess I should talk about the history. Yes, usually coconut oil, which is so luscious for the skin in bath products and whatnot. But when you do a heavy dose in your cold process soap, it can be very harsh. And so when you use a high percentage of coconut oil, like this one here is a 90%, you want to do a high percentage of super fat. And as I said before, I've tried all different types. 25%. That sounds awful high, but it is just the perfect amount where the harshness is gone, and it is like, you know, a scrubbing bar that's polishing and lotioning feel. And that's what everybody loves about it. But coconut oil will give you bubbles in salt water, seawater. And so they would call it the sailor soap. And I don't know how they came about, but I'm sure maybe even Patrick knows how they came about, you know, from the beginning of using coconut oil, you know, make a soap. So they called it sailor soap for many, many generations, and probably a couple thousand years, because sailors have been around for a long time. And it was the only soap that would bubble in salt water, which sailors, they would go take a dip and they would take their bath in the sea. So not only I wouldn't want to use it because I don't think they did any kind of super fatten, but it would be very, very harsh. I make laundry soap, and I know a lot of people do. When it's the vegan type, I use 100% coconut oil, zero fat, super fat at all. So I use that. Anyways, I wouldn't want to be a sailor many years ago and had to use that coconut soap. But who knows? If it was sitting for a long time and aging, and the more that you age, okay, I'm putting that over there, Nicole. You saw that. I just know there's going to be a mishap. Ages for a long time, and that's what, if you use coconut oil soap, you need to let it age. This one with the 25%, I can go even 3 to 8 months. And the longer it ages, the better it gets. So way back when, if there was a soap maker and they made nothing but sailor soap, they probably got some for years and years, and it was a lot milder. Okay, enough of that yakking. Let's get busy on making this soap. Let me get this mixed up with my fragrance. Oops, this is terrible being a right-hander. All right. It does, doesn't it, Danny? But this doesn't come off. The shaft does not come off. So, Nicole and Wayne, yeah. We are not going to have an oopsie day. I'm going to try not to. This might get me in trouble, though, down the road. All right. Let's see that you can see this. See how milky it is? So if you make it, don't sit there, oh my goodness, there's something wrong with my lye water. That old hillbilly. Yeah, this is perfectly natural. Normal. Okay, I'm not even going to the sink with that, with this in here. All right. I'm going to first stir it. You can see a little bit on the bottom, huh? Oh, that smells good. Quieter, isn't it, Danny?
Yeah.
As they get older, none of us know. You like that smell, huh? Nobody knows why, but guess what? They just start getting louder and louder. Okay. If I didn't use either of these fragrances before, I would not have poured it in at the beginning. Left-handed girl in a right-handed world. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm not even going to worry about that because, as I said, it traces, not where you can't do its thing, but can you guys see all right? Okay. Well, let's get pouring. All right. There's one. And a two. Woohoo! It is looking nice. I'll give that a little slap down. And see, with using the activated charcoal in the beginning, if you're a newbie, don't do that because then you might over blend it, and then you're cussing at an old hillbilly. Okay? Let me get those goodies in there. And then if I had to, I would just do the tops like I usually do. Let's get all that to the sides. and pour. All right. Oopsie. I'm trying not to get messy, but you know how that goes. I think I am going, oh, I just love that shininess, but you know it's not going to last. And I am going to put plastic over the top because, as we all know, what happens with charcoal soap, you get a lot of ash. But since I don't have any intricate design, it really doesn't matter because you can wash it off or you can steam it. And it doesn't have any kind of design to mess up. Or if you put sprinkles or something like that on it. Okay. Alright, I'm just going to stick that in there because you know I don't like to waste. And we will use that in another soap. You know, one time, and I talked to you about making bar soap, you know, from a loaf mold. And if you don't watch that and get it while it's still warm after saponification, oh yeah, nothing but crumbles. I made, I don't know, something must have happened, but I made 32 bar in my big mold soap. You guessed it. So you know what this hillbilly did? Yeah. I crumbled it all up and I made some more soap using that in it. It wasn't the prettiest, but it didn't crumble. I crumbled it up fine. It didn't crumble as you used it, but I saved it. It was not the prettiest, but oh my goodness, I was so sad that I thought I was just going to have to throw it away, but I didn't. So we will bring you back in a couple hours. All right. Oh, hi Danny.
10 minutes.
Oh, well, we added 10 more minutes, didn't we?
Yep.
We only had seconds on the last one. That wasn't fun. Wow. Isn't this cool?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, here they are. And like I said, you know, when you do anything with anything dark, yeah, especially with activated charcoal, it's going to get a little bit of ash on there.
Nice.
You see it?
And
it just wipes off when we wash it. And see what it's going to look like on there? Yeah.
Hey, I got it.
What do you think? Smells good, huh? Alright, just put them on up there. Is it hot?
Kind of.
Kind of warm? No, I mean, gotta go like this first. Watch. Go like that. Now, take from the bottom. Push up. Push up right there. Woo! You're doing great. Isn't that neat? Let me get these loose for you. Tater, there is no one there. And I got the gloves on, you don't. You're the ones I'm doing it. That's okay. It's not hot. Whoa! That turned out good, didn't it? Okay, you have to push up from the bottom. Got it?
Yeah.
Is it hard?
No.
Let me see if I can get this one loose for you. It's like doing it, don't you? I'll let you do it. As long as you don't throw them on the floor and watch the corners. Yes. Nice hard bar. You just clean that up and voila. There you go. Brine salt bar. Pretty good, isn't it? That's just for extra because you know Granny doesn't like to waste, huh? Anyway, so that's just an extra little piece. We love ya, don't we?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Wait. What do you got to say?
Bye.
And what else? Stay out of
Trouble.
trouble, and we will too, right, Danny?
Yep.
Go for it.